must be earned. Now the years have gone like the softly falling rain. He can't go back when his people and time again. I wanna go back when his people and time again. I want to walk in the softly falling rain and hear again the lonely seagulls cry. Oh, take me home once more before I die. Now I stand where he once stood before, with silver cablets flashing on the shore. Now the years have gone like the softly falling rain. He can't go back when it's cabling time again. I wanna go back when it's cabling time again. I want to walk in the softly falling rain and hear again the lonely seagulls cry. Oh, take me home once more before I die. Yes, take me home once more before I die.
Matthew Cooper, folks. That was great, Matthew. Thank you for coming in to sing and chat with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, Matthew, can you tell all of our viewers at home a little bit about yourself, like where you were born, grew up, went to school?
Well, my name is Matthew Cooper. I was born in Carbonear, Newfoundland. I went to Davis Elementary as a child, and as I went through, I went to St. Francis and Harbour Grace. Then I went to Carbonear Collegiate in Carbonear. And now I'm at Memorial University studying with Jane Leibel at the Bachelor of Music.
So, when did you begin to study music and actually think to yourself that I want to do this for a living?
When I was 11 years old, I started taking voice lessons in with Calvin Powell. And I just grew to love music, and I decided a couple years before I graduated high school that I wanted to go, and I started working towards it.
Now, of course, we have to talk about the big win of the Sing&L, winner of the adult competition. What was that feeling like when they announced your name?
It felt amazing, yeah.
So how was the whole Sing&L experience?
It was amazing. I met so many new friends, and I just had an awesome time learning new things with Zach, and it was an amazing experience overall.
So I'd say you'd recommend others to follow the Sing&L path if it comes around again.
Yes, for sure.
So is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out from that event?
I'd like to thank my parents for getting me into music and helping me grow in the musical community. And I'd also like to thank my voice professor and my pianists. And I'd also like to thank Zach for the experience, for making Sing&L what it is, and for including me in the experience.
Now, Matthew, if you could choose anyone, dead or alive, to perform one song with, who would it be, what song would it be, and why?
My dad's laughing because he already knows who it is. It's Adele. She's my big inspiration.
What song would you sing?
I would sing Rolling in the Deep, because that was the very first song I sang.
So, of course, you must have a lot of family support when you are trying hard at music. Is your family also musical, and how important has the support been from them?
My family is very musical. My dad plays guitar and he sings, and his brother also plays guitar and sings. And my mom sings also. And their support has been amazing. It helped me get through couple rough patches that I had going through the music, and they've helped me through it.
Well, thanks again for coming in, Matthew, and we wish you all the best in the future. But before before you go, we have to take a selfie. Let me go get the selfie stick. Okay. I don't want to hit the camera. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Perfect. Okay. Well, that was great, Matthew. Thanks for coming in. That was the win. That was Matthew Cooper, folks, the winner of Sing NL in the adult category. Don't go away, because later we will have a special interview, and Rachael Cousins, the winner of the youth category of Sing NL. Welcome back to the show, folks. Up later, we will hear from the winner of the youth category of Sing NL, Rachael Cousins. But joining us in the interview chair right now is the artistic and managing director of the St. John's Actors Studio. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Herriott.
How you doing?
Good. How are you today, Chuck?
Very well, Gary. Very well. Very well.
Well, thanks for coming in to chat with us today.
My pleasure.
So, can you give us a little history on the St. John's Actors Studio?
I started the St. John's Actors Studio in the fall of 2014. And so this, I guess, is the start of my third year at it. So, yeah, so it's going very well.
So, what inspired you to start the St. John's Actors Studio?
Well, I could see the need to have actors training in St. John's, a more professional actors training in St. John's. So I thought I'd start the company up.
Mm-hmm. So could you tell our viewers at home some of the things you offer if you join up with the St. John's Actors Studio?
Oh, sure. Gary, we do lots of improvisation. I do some scene study, neutral mask work, character mask work, voiceover classes. The list goes on.
Well, can you tell us your background in acting and teaching?
I started teaching many years ago with a group called the Kittiwake Dance Theatre. They had a performing arts camp on the go in the summertime. And before that, I taught with Sylvia Wigg in the Basement Theatre on Saturday mornings. And then I went to the National Theatre School of Canada and got some professional training there. And I ended up teaching acting at the university, English 3350. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing classes and camps and workshops and adjudications and things like that ever since.
So I was looking at your website today, mm-hmm. and of course I saw that you also do some masks, and I see that you brought some masks here with you today.
I did, yeah. Yeah. These are what you call character masks, and they're used as a tool for an actor to help them create other characters. And I was taught this at the National Theatre School of Canada by a guy named Pierre Lefebvre, who was a world-class acting teacher. He taught at all the best theatre schools around the world. And a matter of fact, one of his students back in the early 70s was a guy named Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. And when you see what the mask can do, you'll see how it really helped Robin Williams create all those wonderful characters. Mm-hmm. I'll just give you a demonstration if you like, Gary.
Sure.
Sure. Well, I just take the mask, and I've got a mirror set up here, and so it's very easy. You put the mask on, and you let the mask tell the actor from the outside in who the character is. Mm-hmm. So I'll just give you a demonstration. Put this one on. Oh, why me? Why did I have to come here today? There's a cat outside with a bird in his mouth. It's terrible.
And folks, that cat with the bird in the mouth thing is true. I actually saw him on my way to work. He's been dragging that poor thing around since 6 this morning.
Yep. So, but that's what the masks do. I can give you another example here. And these masks aren't like Halloween masks. You know, you go to the store and you buy a Halloween mask, you put it on, it's really only the one character. Whereas these masks, and I made these masks by the way, are very expressive. So if you're crying underneath the mask will cry. If you're laughing, the mask will laugh. So this is Harlequino. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! So you can see this guy's a little bit crazy, and there's a bunch of other ones here. I'll try this one out, see what happens.
This guy could be kind of goofy, you know. He could be this guy. Yeah, he could be even this guy, you know. It all depends on what you feel like when you look in the mirror, you see?
So there you go.
What are your masks actually made out of?
They're made out of neoprene latex, and it's non-allergenic, and when it dries, it's as hard as a hard hat. I can just give you a little sample there of how hard it is. And what I do is I've got a couple of mannequin heads at home, and I sculpt them out of plasticine, and then I smear them with a grease, and the grease acts as a release agent, and then I pour plaster of Paris on it, and when that hardens and dries, I'm able to pluck that off the plasticine mold and then pour in the liquid neoprene. And after about 45 minutes of swishing it around, I can then drain it off, and about an hour later or so, I can peel it out, and I've got a mask that I leave to dry, and then I can trim it out, paint it, and add the straps to it, and there you go. The whole process from beginning to end takes about a week.
Now, what would you say is your most asked question kids and parents ask you about acting?
Ooh, I don't know what that question would be. Most asked question. I guess, how can I get an acting job? Would probably be the most asked question.
Well, in our current school system, why do you think classes like music and theater are good for young people to get into?
Well, because they involve so much communication, you see. With music, you're communicating with the notes, right? And the dynamics of the music. And with theater, you're communicating with each other. Which is what young people really need more of these days. They spend so much time texting and things, looking at their screens. I think they're going to forget how to actually talk to people. So I think it's important.
Yes. Now, if folks want more information on the St. John's Actors Studio, how can they get in contact with you?
They can go to the stjohnsactorstudio.ca website, and there's a contact link in there, or you can email sjactors@gmail.com. And my phone number and all that is on there as well. And of course, my website address, for my personal website address, is chuckherriott.com.
Okay, well, now we're going to play a little game called Get to Know Me. Okay. I'll ask you 5 questions, and you'll come back with the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Fish and chips.
Favorite movie?
I would have to say E.T.
Favorite color?
Green.
Favorite song to sing out loud to when you're alone in the car?
I like a song by a band called Yes, which is called Starship Trooper.
And finally, your favorite place to hang out in St. John's?
My deck.
Now it's time for the famous NL Now selfie. So why don't you grab the selfie stick
sure.
there?
Yep.
And I'll move in.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey Gary, you look great. Say cheese.
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, thanks again for coming in today,
Well,
Chuck.
thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, don't forget, folks, to always go out and support our local music and art scene here in our province. Don't go away, folks. Up after the break, the Sing NL Youth category winner, Rachael Cousins. Cousins, folks. Hello, Rachael. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's first mention the big Sing NL competition held here in St. John's back in May, where you won the big prize in the youth category. Can you tell us about that whole experience?
Well, it was super cool. I showed up at the auditions, and I just kind of went in, and I went to watch, and then I just kind of found the courage to audition myself. So yeah, that was super cool. And then, of course, I met a whole bunch of different people, and we're all on the same path kind of thing. So we all bonded over the same music, and I met a bunch of new friends. And then came the finale, and yeah, it was super exciting and full of adrenaline and such a cool competition. I haven't done a lot of competitions lately, so yeah, it was super cool, and I was so happy to be there.
And what was it like working with Zach Warner?
Zach Warner's super cool. He's very inspiring, and you know, he'll tell you how it is, and he lets you learn a lot of different things, and he's very encouraging, and he always, you know, he wants the best for you in the competition, so he let everyone know what he thought and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was super shaping as an artist.
Now, I was there for a few of the shows, and I noticed that you had a lot of support from family and friends there. How important is it to you to get all that support?
It's so important. I have such a wonderful group of friends and family, and they're always asking me what I'm doing and what they can do to help. So at the finale, they all messaged me saying, like, you know, my whole family is voting and all that kind of thing. So I'm super blessed, and I feel my heart is so warm to have such amazing friends and family surrounding me.
Now let's talk about your debut album called This Fire. I don't think everyone knows the amount of work and money it takes to produce an album on your own. How was it going through something like that?
Well, of course, it's super exciting to, you know, start the co-writing process a few months earlier. And I just kind of went into it with no expectation. I just kind of let myself say, you know, I'm going to go in, no genre. I'm going to write whatever feels best with the artists themselves. And they're all different. Like Chris Kirby is quite different than Kelly Loader kind of thing, which is super cool. And I think it's important to co-write and meet different artists. So there's that part of it. And then there's going to the studio. You know, the whole music engineering and all that kind of stuff is just a whole different spectrum. And I went in and I was quite nervous, of course. I mean, it's only normal to be nervous about something that, you know, you're not used to. And I perform live a lot, but I haven't done a lot of studio work. And so, yeah, I just went in and I told myself to take everything as a learning process. And I don't think that there's anything that you can do wrong. I think that if you go in and, you know, you fumble on something, that's just a learning experience. So I let everything, you know, happen as it was. And I was so happy, and I felt so blessed to, you know, have that kind of opportunity.
So what was it like when you first got your hands on your CD?
Well, it was very surreal. I was actually out of town, and so when we came back in, the box was there waiting for us. And when I opened them up, I was so excited and jumping around screaming, and Mom got all these pictures. So yeah, it was just an insane moment for me because I've dreamt of writing my own original material for a while now. So yeah, it was very exciting.
So where can folks get this CD?
Well, it's done at Fred's Records, and also on all streaming platforms.
So what's the next step for Rachael Cousins?
Well, I have a very busy fall coming up, and of course I'm going to keep writing. I already have ideas for my next full-length album. I'm always planning ahead, so yeah, I'm doing a lot of writing and of course a lot of gigging.
Well, thanks for coming in today, Rachael.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now before you go, of course, we have to take a selfie, so I'll go grab the selfie stick. Okay. Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, okay, folks, don't forget to go out and grab a copy of Rachael's debut album, This Fire. And now, to sing a song from her debut album, This Fire, please welcome Rachael Cousins.